Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up in the Big 12 in Week 15. And this one's going to be between the Oklahoma Sooners and the West Virginia Mountaineers, two teams of which who have had pretty good seasons, especially for Oklahoma right now, coming off of a 6-game winning streak. They're probably one of the hottest teams in the nation. Meanwhile, for West Virginia, they're 5-4, which is an improvement off of last season. So they're looking pretty good to make it to a good bowl game. And this could be a big win for both these teams. Whichever team wins this game should be on to a pretty good bowl game, especially for Oklahoma. I mean, this is still a team that is possibly on the line for a New Year's Six bowl game, especially if they can win the Big 12, which I definitely think Oklahoma's the favorite to do so right now. But still, you got to get past West Virginia to get to that point. We're going to be going over a full game preview and prediction on this one here today, starting out with your team trends. Of course, Oklahoma beat Baylor last week, 27-14 was the final score there. So that was a good win there for Oklahoma. I mean, Baylor is not a very good team this season. There's no doubt about that. I mean, looking at their record right now, I mean, they're the second to last team currently in the Big 12 with a 2-6 record, and that would have been a pretty terrible loss if they took a loss there. But nonetheless, Oklahoma got a win there pretty easily. I mean, it was by 13, so I'm sure most of us, including myself, did think that Oklahoma would win that game by a bit of a larger margin, but still, once again, a win's a win. West Virginia lost to Iowa State in a bad one. 6-42 was the final score there, so Iowa State completely just ran over West Virginia. I mean, that game was not even close from the start. But for Iowa State, I mean, they're a very good team this season too. There's no doubt about that. And that's why it's going to be such a good matchup in the Big 12 championship between Oklahoma and Iowa State, mainly because both those teams already played this season, for one. And for two, I mean, both teams have improved a ton as the season's gone on. I mean, Oklahoma, they started off 1-2, but ever since, they've won 6 straight games. Then Iowa State started off 0-1. They lost to Louisiana in the first game, and it looks like they've won however many games straight. So Iowa State's looking pretty good right now as well. So both teams, it'd be a great matchup in that Big 12 championship game. But winning streaks for both these teams, Oklahoma's currently ranked 11th in the nation. According to the AP poll, they're 7-2 with a 6-game winning streak. West Virginia is on a 1-game losing streak with a 5-4 record. So you definitely want to, I mean, the thing is, for West Virginia, they've been a pretty inconsistent team all season long. I mean, one week they play extremely well, one week they just don't. Like, we've seen some really good games out of West Virginia and some really bad ones. Like, they lost to Texas Tech a few weeks ago. It was a close game. It was a touchdown loss, but still, I mean, that was a pretty bad loss there. And then they absolutely destroyed Kansas State the next week, 37-10. So, yeah, West Virginia's just been a very inconsistent team. And if the pattern goes, I mean, West Virginia should play well in this game. Like, they definitely are a team that I think is kind of in the background of the Big 12. No one's really talking about them, but this is a team that's very talented this season. They've got potential to pull a big upset in this game. This game's going to be on Saturday, December 12th, noon Eastern in Morgantown. So West Virginia will be the home team here. Spread currently says Oklahoma by 11. ESPN FBI's got Oklahoma 81%. Vegas prediction also going with the Sooners here 38-26. So Oklahoma is the favorite in pretty much all three areas. Use a stack pressure for this game. Oklahoma's got 43 points per game, 22 points allowed. They got 327 pass yards a game, 158 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 234 passing and 88 rushing. So Oklahoma is very good on both sides of the ball right now. They've been, once again, a very improved team as the season's gone on. Like, Spencer Rattler's put up over 2,500 yards on the season, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he's had a really good season for Oklahoma. And all around, I mean, yeah, Spencer Rattler's improved a ton. I mean, if you look at him at the beginning of the season, like, he looks like a totally different player now. We're at this point in the season in comparison to the beginning. Like, at the beginning of the season, I mean, obviously coming out of a high school career, I mean, he's still a very young quarterback, but he has improved a ton, and I think he's going to be a scary quarterback for the years to come. I mean, next season, Oklahoma could be a really good team if Spencer Rattler can continue to improve. Like, Oklahoma, honestly, I mean, they're a 7-2 team, but they do not look like a 7-2 team right now. Like, this Oklahoma team looks like they could be undefeated right now. And so for Oklahoma, I mean, once again, it's just that bad start that really has kind of damaged their season. But still, I mean, they still have a good chance to make it to a New Year's Six bowl game, so you still have that on the line. But for West Virginia, they got 26 points per game, 20 points allowed, 277 pass yards a game, 145 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, they got 171 passing and 126 rushing. So, I mean, West Virginia on their side, they've been doing really well all season as well. I mean, Jared Doge, their quarterback, has had a good season. He's had nearly 2,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So, I mean, he's not a player to sleep on either. Like, Jared Doge has been one of the sleeper players in the Big 12, and I mean, he's definitely a pretty good quarterback as well. I wouldn't say he's the best quarterback in the Big 12, but he's definitely been doing the job well this season for West Virginia. So you got to watch out for him as well. But as for the rushing core for both these teams, I mean, Brown's been the top running back for West Virginia. He's put up nearly 1,000 yards on the season and 9 touchdowns, so he's had a pretty good season as well. watch out for him moving forward. Key points for this one is Oklahoma, the hottest team in the nation. I definitely think Oklahoma is up there for one of the hotter teams in the nation, mainly because, they've won 6 straight games. They're looking very good right now. And after, once again, having 2 losses at the beginning of the year, this is looking like a completely different Oklahoma team than we saw at the beginning of the season. And I said that before, but it is so true. Oklahoma's improved a ton as the season's gone on. West Virginia has definitely not been an easy team to beat, though. There's that for sure. West Virginia's they've taken a couple of losses down the stretch, which have been kind of confusing, and some bad losses too. But they've improved a ton. They've just been a good team. Like, they've gotten a couple of good wins. Once again, they beat up TCU, which TCU had that big upset win this week, and then they destroyed Kansas State a few weeks back when they were good. So, yeah, West Virginia, they're definitely still a team that I think you got to worry about if you're Oklahoma here. You definitely don't want to take a loss, because that would really damage your chances of making it to a New Year's Six bowl game. But impacts of this game, for both teams, obviously for Oklahoma, I definitely think if you watch my bowl projection video, I've got Oklahoma currently in the Cotton Bowl to face Texas A&M. So Oklahoma's got a really good chance to play a really good team on the line in the Cotton Bowl, which could be huge for them. If you want to see that video, I'll probably link it in the description below. But Oklahoma is just a team that's very talented right now. They've got a ton of momentum, and I definitely think that they're a team to watch out for. And this is, that's the reason why I think Oklahoma is so good, is because, you got Spencer Rattler, who's improved a ton over the season, and they've also got a very young team. They got Pledger, who's also a very young running back. He's put up 500 yards on the season and 5 touchdowns, so you can't forget about him as well. But for West Virginia, a bowl game is on the line, obviously. I think West Virginia, even if they do lose here, they probably will still make it to a bowl game. It's just a matter of how good of a bowl game that they can get to. Like, if you take a win here, or if you get a win, this is probably going to put you in a pretty good bowl situation. So you got to consider that as well. But in the end, I've got Oklahoma getting the win. I think Oklahoma is just the better team here. 35-20 is going to be your final score. But it's going to be pretty close at first. I do think West Virginia will hang around in the first half, but in the final, it's going to be Oklahoma 35-20. Probability is going to be 70% towards the Sooners here. So I am going with Oklahoma pretty comfortably in this game. But I definitely think West Virginia should hang around for a good chunk of this one. I think West Virginia is a very good team, and they still got a lot of potential moving forward. They've got a young team that's been improving over the season too. So for Oklahoma, it's just Spencer Rattler for me in Oklahoma. That's just too good for this West Virginia team right now. Oklahoma's looking way too good to take a loss here. They've won 6 straight games, and honestly, for any team, it's tough enough to beat a team that's on a 3-game winning streak, let alone a 6-game winning streak for Oklahoma right now. So for West Virginia, that's also a tough hill that you got to climb here. But Oklahoma, they're going to get the win 35-20 here. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down below. I appreciate you guys all sticking around and watching this one. And if you enjoyed this preview, slap a like on it, subscribe as well, as it really helps the channel, and I really appreciate that. But once again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more. I will see you all later.